Can you beat the story of GW2 with no equipment? Part 2. Welcome back. If you don't remember what we did in the last episode, I'll quickly recap it for you. We created a new thief character and didn't use any armor or weapons to try to beat the personal story of GW2. Using these restrictions, I was able to complete the 5th personal story chapter and reach level 54. In the last episode we saved the script and blew up the destroyer queen. I'm locked out of the story until I reach level 60, so it's back to level grinding. I completed the Keswick's Hill map, I died a couple times, got catcalled, but other than that it was pretty uneventful. Having reached level 60, I get back to the story. I went back to Vigil Keep to inform General Amora of our new Skrit allies, and as a reward I was ordered to go into the Lion's Arch sewer. After having done some inventory management, I was ready to go spelunking in the sewer. This is where I ran into a pretty big hurdle in this challenge. All the damaging skills I've been using so far don't work on the water. So instead I had to slot the Scorpion Wire skill, which is the only slot skill for the feat that does damage and works on the water. I also used the Signet of Shadows to apply conditions to the enemies, as well as the Assassin Signet to boost the very low damage of the Scorpion Wire. It took a very long time to clear out the enemies from the sewer because of the low damage of the Scorpion Wire and the amount of enemies down there. I eventually got to the other end of the tunnel with a powerful undead scout who defeated me quickly. Luckily the sewer had some more enemies in the same area, so the undead scout started to fight them instead of me, so I could easily stand back and wait for the undead scout to fall. Defeating the undead scout belonged to the Risen and planning an attack on Claw Island, so Forgel and I went over there to warn them. As we arrived to warn the guards of Claw Island, the Risen do as well. We tried to fight them off, but fail and lose the island to the Risen. I lit the light tower and Forgel heroically sacrificed himself.
You may win the battle, dragon, but you will never die by my hand!
To let me, Traherne and a couple of others sail to safety. Traherne and I go to General Amor to help her defend against the Risen attack on the beaches of Lion's Arch. After fending off the Risen, I got the choice of either going to get the help from a prolific Norn fighter or from two Shar who bicker like an old married couple, so of course I went with the Norn. I went with Traherne to Timberline Falls to try to recruit the Norn Fibhar. After proving myself in a hard-fought duel against Fibhar and his friends, he agrees to join the Vigil's effort to retake Claw Island.
Victorific!
Traherne suggests going to the Grove and speaking to the Pale Tree. We ask the Pale Tree for advice on how to defeat the undead dragon Saitan responsible for these attacks on Lion's Arch. The Pale Tree gives us a vision of ore. We listen to the Destiny's Edge members trauma dump on each other.
It wasn't enough. You weren't enough.
And Traherne gets given the sword Caliborg from the Pale Tree. We test his strength against the Gate Guardian, which was honestly really easy. We get taken out of the vision and head back to Vigil Keep because we get the word that Saitan's army is about to attack it. We clear the path of enemies to escort War Master Efoot up to the keep, then shoot down the Risen siege weapons with our own siege weapons. After that I jump down from the castle wall into the water and defeat all the Risen coming out of the lake. Until another leader of the Risen army comes out and we defeat her. We go back to Lion's Arch for a meeting with all the 3 Orders of Tyria to try to form a pact in order to fight back against Saitan. After the Orders of Tyria had reluctantly teamed up, we go to take back Claw Island from the Risen. We escort the Orders of Wizards members to a light tower. He reconfigurates it to use to blast open the door of Claw Island, and then we begin retaking the castle. We take back the walls and the courtyard of the castle. One of Saitan's champion Blightgas lands to stop us retaking the island, so we have to get rid of him. I took surprisingly very low damage during this fight. The most trouble I had was with this Rotmouth, which kept knocking me over, so I was able to take out Blightgas pretty easily. Having reclaimed Claw Island, I'm locked out of the next story chapter, so it's back to leveling once more. I took on the world boss, the Mega Destroy in Mount Maelstrom, and that got me enough experience to get to level 70. After getting to level 71, I gained access to my 3rd specialization slot, so I chose the Acrobatic specialization for the boons. Then I went to Concordia Fortress and Timberline Falls to continue the story. I met with Traherne and the other members of the 3 Orders of Tyria to discuss our alliance against Saitan. In the middle of this, a Priory member comes running screaming about how his researcher friends are getting attacked by Risen. We go to the area that the Priory member mentioned and clear out all the Risen from a burnt down camp. Searching around more around the area, we find a couple survivors at the top of a hill.
That means we're headed in the right direction.
We defend the survivors from a couple waves of enemies and then we went inside the cave. I clear out the cave of enemies, defeat the behemoth and rescue the researchers inside. Then try to leave the way you're supposed to, but the game bugged. Traherne is supposed to stand here in order to get the next cutscene to play, but he's all the way back at the start of the mission. I think the reason this happened is because I died a couple of times in the fight at the top of the hill, and the game got confused. While running around the cave searching for a solution for this, I also changed around my specialization to give me the improvisation trait. This trait gives me 2 use of whatever skill I get from the steal skill. I had to back out the character select and play through this whole long mission again. Very cool. I get back to where I was last time before the game bugged, and we fight our way out of the cave. At the exit of the cave we encounter another one of Saitan's army lackeys who wants to stop us. It was a tough battle while we took him out and the 2 behemoths around him. Having done that, next I go to the demolition expert Ton in Sparkly 5 Fen to take down a couple of undead towers. Escort Ton and Marmax carrying a bunch of explosives to all the towers. After having blown up all the Risen towers, I was given the choice to either steal a bomb from the Inquest or to work with Ton's friend Sop to collect the flame core in Mount Maelstrom. I went with Sop. I went inside a volcano in Mount Maelstrom and got given a mech suit. We went inside the volcano together to collect the flame core. Sop goes to pick up the flame core and a giant flame elemental emerges from the lava lake. I was told to destroy the fire orb surrounding the lava lake to defeat the fire elemental. I died probably 100 times trying to do this because everything in the area was trying to attack me at the same time. Also because I was being impatient. But eventually I destroyed the balls and we escaped with our new flame core. We take our new flame core to the Risen bone ship on the coast to blow it up. We jumped in the water and began swimming towards the ship, but it's guarded by some undead shark that I need to get rid of so Ton can place the explosive. But they defeated me with 1 attack. After respawning on land, I swam back to the ship once more to discover the AI of the shark had gotten broken. They weren't attacking me back so I could easily defeat them, letting Ton get on the ship and blow it up and himself. I report to Traherne at the new pact base Fort Trinity. We check on the progress of the workers. When we are doing this, the Risen launch a surprise attack on Fort Trinity, so we begin fighting them off. Having shot at the Risen from Fort Trinity, I run to the nearby camp to quickly tell Ton's wife that her husband is dead.
Away from me, you murderer!
After a while of adventuring, I get to level 80 and now I can show you my final build. Here it is. This is the combat rotation I made. First I place down my 2 traps, wait for them to arm, and then grapple the enemy towards the traps. After they are inside the traps, I use the steal skill on the enemy to apply vulnerability to them, and then activate the traps. I run back and forth through the damaging field while dodging to put caltrops down. If I have my elite skill Dagger Storm available, I will use it here, and use whatever skill I got from the steal skill on them. This build has pretty good burst damage, but after the burst you have absolutely nothing. I go back to Fort Trinity to talk to Traherne. Me and Saya are going to infiltrate an underwater cathedral that the Risen have infected. This is again very bad for my build, but at least I have someone who can tank for me. This mission is pretty long even if you have weapons, so it took me a while to get this done. I slowly cleared out each enemy one by one while dying a bunch. After having lit all the things, we fight one of Saitan's army generals. We take him out and then get out of the cathedral while it's collapsing around us. I go back to Fort Trinity to talk to Traherne about our next step in defeating Saitan. He tells us we need to get rid of the Eye of Saitan and can either attack the Eye of Saitan directly or ambush it. I chose to ambush it. We lure the Eye of Saitan out with a magical mirror. We attack the Eye but fail to defeat it, and then we get teleported somewhere else. Now we have to fight through a horde of Risen to get to the Eye of Saitan at the other end, which takes a long time because I don't want to be overwhelmed by all the enemies. Thankfully I had some allied squid that can help me.
We patrol this stinky place.
After getting through all the enemies, we get to the Eye of Saitan, I do my rotation on it and it dies. We go back to Fort Trinity and do some experiments on the Eye of Saitan to see what the creature last saw. We see a projection of the mouth of Saitan gorging itself on magical artifacts. In the middle of the research we get attacked by Risen and I take them out. Having done our experiments on the Eye, we go after the mouth of Saitan in Malkor's Leap to shut down the magical source of Saitan. When I get there we have to take down a Risen ship carrying the couriers for the mouth of Saitan. I have to take it down with a turret while my allies defend me from the back. However, they are not very good at their job and get defeated quickly. So I only get a couple shots off at the ship before I have to get off the turret and fight the Risen at my back. With each wave that came in I got 1 or 2 shots off, then I had to get off the turret to fend off the Risen attackers. After a lot of dying on my part, I eventually sink the Risen ship and move on to chasing down the fleeing couriers. I do a pretty small amount of damage to the couriers and can't keep them in place for very long, so they end up running into a couple mines. Having defeated all the couriers, we go to take on the mouth of Saitan, which was pretty easy because of all my allies I had with me, but of course I still managed to get defeated here too. With the magical source of Saitan being shut down, I went back to Fort Trinity and decided with Traherne to destroy the ossuary at the Orient Temple of Lissa. Me, Traherne and a couple packs slowly go to the Temple of Lissa in Mercos Leap. When we got there, we went around to a couple places around the temple and cleared out the Risen so Traherne can perform a ritual. Having completed the ritual, we go down to the lower level of the ossuary and clear out all the enemies on the steps down. Then the powerful enemy Prince El Al-Sol shows up and quickly defeats me and all of my allies. I continued to go down there a couple times to try to fight him by myself, but it didn't go so well. Instead, I went around to all my allies and healed them almost all the way up, but not quite. Then I got them all up at the same time so they can tank me while I took out the prince. Having destroyed the ossuary, I went to talk with the leaders of the Ordos of Teria to decide the next move against Saitan. As we speak, he get attacked by more Risen. We fight them off, and then I decide to take the Shard tanks into Or. First, however, we have to clear out the landing path for the tanks in Or. With the help of a couple Sylvari, we stealth past all the enemies to make it to a camp. When we get to the camp, we have to clear out all the Risen inside, which turned out to be harder than I expected, and I died. I spawned back at the starting point of the mission, meaning I no longer had any stealth, so I found it hard to even get back to the place I was supposed to clear out. To add on to that, all my allies had gone down, so it took me several attempts to get it done, but eventually I did it. Next I had to clear the giants off the docking area, which was very hard with no help. I tried a couple times by myself, but then gave up and went back to the camp that I cleared. I revived all my Sylvari allies that had fallen, and we took on the giants together, making it much easier. With the Shard tanks now on land, we marched towards the Cathedral of Seraphs to blow it up. We took out the giant chief on top of the mountain, then ran away, but for some reason one of the Sylvari who helped me stayed behind and gets blown up too. After that, we took the tanks to Camp Care Shadowfane and defended the camp from a Risen attack. I used the tanks to blow up some giants, and we take out one of the leaders of the Risen force. Having weakened Saitan's forces, me and Traherne went to the royal tombs in Or to cleanse it of Saitan's corruption. While he's doing his cleansing ritual, I have to defend him, but it turns out he doesn't even have to be alive for the ritual to be completed. He just requires that all the enemies around him are defeated. Traherne's ritual failed, and I chose to get the help of the human god Grenth to locate the source of Or. I go to the temple of Grenth and fought my way through. We spoke to Grenth, who told us to find and defeat a corrupted priest of Grenth at the other end of the temple. I slowly cleared all the enemies on the path to the priest and defeated him. Then Grenth gave us the location of the source of Or. After that, we went to the area that Grenth mentioned to cleanse it of the dragon's corruption. We cleared all the enemies on the Artesian well and fought the other Eye of Saitan. This took a long time, so long I actually saw some attacks I'd never seen from this enemy before. We eventually defeated the Eye, and Traherne begins his cleansing ritual while I defend him from the horde of Risen coming to stop him. Having purified the source of Or, I go back to Fort Trinity and talk to Traherne one more time before the last mission of finally killing the dragon Saitan. I go to the ruined city of Ra alongside the whole Destiny's Edge gang and salvage some power cords from crashed helicopters to get our airship up and running. Once the airship is able to cast off, Logan stays behind to ensure the airship gets away, and we never saw him again. I reflect the group back at the giants with the ship's turret. After defeating the giants, I get taken by helicopter to a small platform with 3 towers. I take the towers out alongside the enemies defending the towers by running in circles around the tower while placing down my traps, and then waiting for them to recharge and repeating until I destroyed all 3 towers. Then the mouth of Saitan shows up again. This is probably one of the easier fights in this game for this build, because it just does damage with its red circles, so if you avoid those with your dodges, you won't take any damage at all. I hurled the fireballs he spit out back into his mouth and defeated him. I got back on the ship while the packed ground troops stormed the place. I took out 3 of Saitan's champions using the ship's turret, and after all that the airship got destroyed, and we had to bail onto another airship. And to everyone's surprise, Logan survived.
Come on, you laggards! We don't have all day!
I defended Soldier while she configured the ship's turret, and then shot down Saitan with it, in one of gaming's best final boss fights. There you go. Yes, it is indeed possible to beat the personal story of GW2 with no equipment, and to be honest, it's not even all that hard. Aside from the couple of underwater segments, this was a pretty easy challenge. I'd say give the challenge a try for yourself if it looked fun. It took me 18 hours to complete and I died 73 times. That's all, thanks for watching.